Right, shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Waharaka Kadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching His word in all sincerity and in truth. This is the book of Revelations 13 and 16. And He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. 666. So I got an article here. It reads, "We won't force vaccine, but here's what we will do." Health Ministry Director claims vaccines won't be forced, but Dr. E.R. Zimmerman tells Knesset committee they'll understand themselves. Although Health Ministry Director Hezi Levy yesterday insisted to reporters that we won't force people to take a vaccine. Israeli law doesn't allow for it. Speaking before the special Knesset coronavirus committee chaired by MK Yifat Shasha Biden, Shebar Medical Center Chief Medical Officer and Chief Innovation Officer de Eyal Zimlikim listed measures that are being planned to maneuver the population into vaccinating as a way of regaining freedom of movement. Okay, freedom of movement. So being able to go from one place to another. Says the issue of how to motivate vaccine compliance has generated increasing interest, with commentators such as Mike Cernovich writing, "Government won't force you to take vaccine. Amazon will, airlines will, banks will. You won't be able to buy, sell or trade without the vaccine." As if underscoring Cernovich's words, Dr. Zittenwich, I'm not saying the mark of the beast is the vaccine, because it's not. However, the mark of the beast itself is like a administrative tool for things like the vaccine. Okay, like I always say, there's going to be more crisis than the vaccine, whereby the chip is going to be brought forth as the answer. Okay, to bring everything together, to order everything, to manage the crisis. Okay, and that's the mark of the beast. So the mark of the beast would then connect you, all your information, your money, your rations, your vaccination status, your health, all that. I call it one chip to rule them all. Everything in society, your whole digital identity is going to be tied to you using that chip. As if underscoring Cernovich's words, Dr. Zimmerman told the committee another thing that will apparently come into our lives, starting in small numbers already in January, which is soon, and that's the vaccine. If we're discussing how to create motivation for Israeli citizens to vaccinate, I agree you can't force the population. It won't work. We can talk about it until tomorrow. It won't work. What is possible is to create motivation, pressure. Whoever is vaccinated will automatically receive green status. Now, I did a video a month or so back about the COVID pass, right, and how the COVID pass information is integratable with a chip, right? So, and they're always telling you about the biochip, the hydrogels. All right, because being vaccinated is one thing, but being able for the system to identify you as being vaccinated, that's administrative. That's where the chip comes in. All right. Therefore, you may vaccinate and receive green status to go freely in all the green zones. They'll open for you cultural events. They'll open to you the shopping malls, hotels, and restaurants. You may decide you're not vaccinated, and if you do want to enter these areas, you will need to submit to a PCR test, right? And they're already saying, basically that if you have to go into isolation, the future plan is that instead of going into isolation, you'll have to take a PCR test every day. Anyway, therefore, I believe people will understand by themselves that the vaccine will return them to regular life, and they'll vaccinate themselves without our obligating them. But the idea we're putting out is actually something that's starting already now. We're floating an initial pilot, we're testing, and are ready to start with based on the PCR and based on antigen, assuming it will be authored by the health ministry. We're in a process with the ministry and of course serology, and very quickly already from January to add the vaccines. Whoever is vaccinated may enter those green areas. That's safe zone. Assuming we're discussing a protracted period when part of the population will be vaccinated and part won't, for a year even. And it's going to be more complicated than that, because they've already said you're going to have multiple vaccines, and the vaccines are not actually going to be viable for a certain amount of time, so then you're going to have to get boosters. So there's always going to be a segment of the population that are unvaccinated. Even the people who want to get vaccinated, they just like how it is now, sometimes you've got to be on a waiting list. So you might have a time where even though you've been vaccinated, your vaccination so-called expires, and you get put back on the red list until you can get another vaccination and to get put back on the green list. So there's always going to be a segment of the population, according to this bullshit, that's going to be unvaccinated anyway. But that's how they want it. And part won't for a year even. So we see those areas growing in size, and those people who are vaccinated receive the pass to enter those green areas in the cities from the south to the north of the country. So you see what's happening. This COVID thing is being used to bring in a crisis, and the mark of the beast is going to be at the heart of the solution. It's going to be part of the administrative solution, to administer the vaccine, among other things. Because, like I said, there's going to be more crisis than just the scamdemic. There's gonna be so many crises popping off at the same time, and the chip is just going to be pushed out there as a solution, and people are going to be confused and under pressure, and they're going to do whatever they got to do to survive, except for the elect, because a few other people that are out there that the Lord set up to rebel to be seditious. But definitely the elect are going to reject all this madness anyway, off the bat. So we're definitely in that time, man, where these last few prophecies, like the mark of the beast, you see it rapidly unfolding. Habakkuk 2 and 3 says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it surely will come. It will not tarry." And as much as these men are doing, there's more people than ever are waking up to this man's tyranny. So they got to move fast. They got to do more. The longer they take to do what they're doing, the more people are waking up to the madness. So they got to move fast. So, like I said, man, and I said it from the beginning of this crisis, man, look for more different crises to hit you from the side. They're gonna, economic collapse, food shortages, other pandemics, other diseases. Like, oh, where's this disease come from? Wars. They're gonna throw the kitchen sink. All kinds of chaos, man. Dan, that's what's gonna lead into Daniel's 12:1, a time of tribulation as there wasn't since there was a nation, not even to that time. That's a lot of chaos, to unprecedented levels of crisis. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that article out, man. They're gonna move forward fast, man, with this thing. So we just gotta keep, don't take no damn vaccines. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that.